Welcome to Apex Philosophy, the perfect place to find motivation. Be sure to subscribe and listen every day so you can become your best self. Confront your dark side, the law of repression. A summary based on Robert Greene's book, The Laws of Human Nature. In Chapter 9, Robert Greene discusses our dark side, why humans suppress their true innate nature, and what that means for you. For a deeper dive, be sure to read his book, The Law of Human Nature. Law number 9. Confront your dark side, the law of repression. People often repress, restrain, or avoid parts of themselves. Most of the time, this is done to be accepted by a loved one, an authority figure, or their peers. Young boys have to learn to suppress their rambunctious side in school. Children with strict parents often suppress desires or passions to pursue what their controlling parents want them to. Men often hold back tears to avoid shame. Although this may seem like the right thing to do in those situations, Greene tells us that those unaddressed emotions and desires create our dark side. Psychologist Carl Jung refers to this as the shadow. We can be polite to others, and we can be the nice person in our friend group. However, we all have this shadow that lurks inside us. This shadow can be toxic. For example, always being tough could lead to a lack of empathy. You are ignoring the feelings of other people just because you have a perception that tears are equated to weakness. Inside each of us is a dark side that yearns to get out. If you aren't aware of your dark side, it will manifest itself in ways outside of your control. Usually through emotional outbursts from unconscious triggers. Many times your dark side will come out when you are under stress or intoxicated. It is important to recognise your dark side and incorporate it into your personality. This way, it can get the attention it needs in a way that you can control. Keys to human nature. The key here is to understand that despite what people express on the outside, they are often hiding a dark desire. They look like they fit in, but through this repression, they become fake shells of themselves, attempting to hide their true nature from the world. Fortunately, people's true desires will come out. All you have to do is wait and watch. This is where the phrase "actions speak louder than words" comes from. Deciphering the shadow. The shadow often shows itself through contradictory behaviours and emotional outbursts. For example, a person who loses self-control easily. Or vehement denial. A person who argues against something but secretly desires it. Or over-idolization. A person who champions a good cause so they can act rudely. Or accidental behaviour. A person who gets intoxicated so that they have an excuse for bad behaviour. Or projection. A person who accuses someone else of what they secretly desire themselves. Most people attempt to conceal their dark side by emphasising the opposite trait. Greene lists 7 of the most common. First is the tough guy. A tough person projects this rough masculinity, intended to intimidate. These people are often nice, but judgments have foreshadowed their interactions. Additionally, they have a reputation for being reliable because they are strong. But through their strength, they may also seem unapproachable. You need to let go of the apprehensions of the tough guy and get to know the real guy behind the mask. The next type is the saint, a person of goodness. We often perceive them as pure beings. However, you need to be wary of pretenders and charmers. They often say one thing in public and do something completely different behind closed doors. The third one is the passive-aggressive charmer, an accommodating person who would turn into a nuisance in the future. These people would act nice in the first meeting because they want to enter your life. However, when a better opportunity comes along, they will throw you under the bus without a second thought. The fourth one is the Fanatic, a great supporter of almost all causes. However, they would often fail to deliver on what they promised. They talk a big game, but often rely on others to deliver. People like this should be held accountable, especially if you have receipts. You need to record their promises and throw them back in their face. The next one is the Rigid Rationalist, a person who is afraid to look dumb. They take every opportunity to show you how smart they are, usually by pointing out your flaws. This one-upmanship can get quite annoying. Nothing you do or say will be good enough. They will always act arrogantly, putting themselves above everyone else. Another one is the Snob. These people often try to be different or unique. This helps them feel superior. They often can't compete, so to feel superior, they make up their own rules that work to their advantage and, of course, your folly. Uniformity and discipline are key to managing such behaviours. The same clothes and the same work would make them realise that equal treatment and respect should be given to each of their fellows. Lastly, we have the Extreme Entreprenuer. These people have been let down by others so often that they have learned extreme independence. They secretly want someone to help them or take care of them, but have decided that no one will. This makes them very detail-oriented and productive. However, they are also the type to do all the work themselves. They lean towards perfectionism and often do the work themselves since it's the only way it will be done right. Their inability to delegate ends up being their own downfall. To be an integrated human, we need to work with our dark side, not against it. The first step is often the most difficult, which is seeing your dark side. By definition, we deny our shadows and find ways to cover them up. You must learn to recognise your shadow traits. The next step is to embrace your shadow. It is part of you. Stop denying it. The next step is exploring your shadow. Ask yourself what you desire, ponder it, and learn about it. Next, you must show your shadow. You must stop hiding it. Admit it to yourself and others. This is part of being authentic and true to yourself. It will make you more attractive and allow your true creative self to come out and play. Be comfortable with yourself and ignore the opinions of others. Finally, don't be afraid to hurt, offend, or disappoint others. It is more important to be yourself than it is to pander to them. The more you repress your shadow, the darker and uglier it becomes. In our next video, we will be discussing the ego and managing envy. Thank you for listening. Comment below, what masks are you putting up to hide your shadow from the world? Don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.